Sig P210. The lineage of modern Sig handguns dates back to 1947, when Schweizerische Industriegesellschaft acquired the French SACM 1935A patents and began designing a new service pistol. At the time, the standard-issue sidearm landscape was still dominated by designs that had proven themselves in World War II, namely the Colt M1911, Browning High Power, Walther P38, and Tokarev TT33. Sig's goal was to create something that matched the reliability of those wartime pistols, but elevated the precision and ergonomics to peacetime Swiss standards. Production prototypes, labeled SP47/8, culminated in Swiss military adoption as Pistole 49 in 1949, with civilian sales retaining the SP47/8 tag until the official P210 name appeared in 1957. Denmark ordered the same pistol the same year, giving it the designation Pistol M49, and West Germany's new border guard fielded it as the P210-4. Although frequently called the Neuhausen after the Swiss factory town, the frame rail, internal slide layout defined its identity. Early test pieces, such as the experimental 44/16, used a forward-thinking 16-round double-stack magazine. Heavy frame match pistols later issued to the Swiss national team have become prized collector pieces. Single-action, short recoil, locked breech pistol chambered mainly in 9x19mm with 7.65 para and 22 LR conversion units also catalogued. 8-round single-stack magazines slide into a steel frame that mates to a 4.6 barrel through polished hand-fit internal rails, giving bores a straight-line run that produces match-grade accuracy without tuning. Adjustable sight P210-5 and -6 target variants lengthened the slide. The rare P210-7 converted the design to rimfire for inexpensive practice. Built originally for Swiss soldiers and police, the pistol later served Danish officers, German customs units, and competitive shooters worldwide. Swiss manufacture ceased in 2006. But Sig Sauer Germany revived the pattern as the P210 Legend in 2010. Sig Sauer USA followed with the P210A Target and Standard models in 2017 and unveiled the alloy-framed P210 Carry in 2022. New examples remain in limited production. Surplus military pistols surface periodically, and the design's near-mythic accuracy still draws marksmen to the range. Sig P220 series. Collaboration between Sig and J.P. Sauer & Son in 1975 aimed to replace the expensive hand-fitted P210 with a service pistol suited to mass production. The result arrived as the P220, or Pistole 75 for Swiss forces. It kept steel slide precision, yet introduced an alloy frame, double-action trigger, and barrel hood-into-ejection port locking system that removed separate lugs. Early European models used a heel release and pinned breech block. Later, U.S. imports adopted push-button releases and monolithic slides. Requests soon appeared for a slimmer duty gun. Sig shortened the frame and slide to create the single-stack P225, adopted across West German Lander police agencies as the P6. A different challenge emerged in 1981 when the U.S. military opened the XM9 trials, added a double-column magazine, and produced the P226. Although Beretta won the contract on price, the Navy SEAL teams selected the P226 independently, and the pistol later entered American service as the MK25 with phosphate-coated internals and an anchor emblem on the slide. Demand for compact-duty pistols led to the P228 in 1988, a shortened P226 chosen by U.S. Armed Forces as the M11. A few years later, engineers enlarged the slide to handle higher slide velocity and hotter ammunition, birthing the P229, first issued in .357 Sig and .40 S&W, later offered in 9mm. Federal Air Marshals and NCIS all fielded the model, often retaining it well into the polymer era. The basic P220 kept evolving too, spawning 10mm Hunter and Legion variants, while the compact P224 briefly merged P229 internals with a chopped grip before production ended. The lineage even extends to rimfire. Sig contracted German sport guns to build the Mosquito, a 90% scale 22 LR trainer echoing P226 lines. Though magazine-sensitive, the pistol served as an affordable skills bridge and later continued as the GSG Firefly after Sig discontinued marketing. All P220 series pistols employ a 4-point internal safety architecture: firing pin block, trigger disconnector, hammer intercept notch, and frame-mounted decocker. Caliber choices now span 9x19mm, 40 S&W, 357 Sig, 10mm auto, and 45 ACP. Magazine capacities range from 8 rounds in the P220 to 17 in modern P226 magazines. Legion and Elite packages bring short reset triggers, G10 grips, and optic-ready slides. Although most armed forces have migrated to polymer service pistols, current Sig catalogs still list select P220, P226, and P229 variants, and surplus P6s remain a favored entry point for enthusiasts. Sig P230. Development of the compact blowback P230 began in 1977 as West German police searched for a concealable sidearm in the aftermath of domestic terrorism. Sig offered a streamlined 32 ACP or 380 ACP pistol with a fixed barrel, wraparound grips, and heel magazine latch, providing accuracy superior to contemporaneous Walther PPK pistols. Production continued into the 1990s when the 1996 overhaul produced the P232. Changes included a drop safety, deeper serrations, dovetailed front sight, and enlarged stippled polymer stocks. Stainless slide variants controlled recoil, yet kept weight modest at 18 ounces. Nations such as Japan, Switzerland, and Libya purchased limited quantities. A small number reached British SAS holsters. Fun curiosities comprise a little-known suppressor kit sold to Japanese police and a full nickel SL version sold in Europe that tipped the scales enough to tame 380 ACP impulse. The pistol uses a straight blowback system, double-action single-action trigger, and 7-round magazine. No manual safety is fitted. The frame-mounted lever decocks the hammer. Although imported to the United States until 2014, German export regulations and the rise of lighter polymer 380 pistols halted production in 2015. Nicely preserved examples command steady interest from collectors. Sig Pro. Introduced in 1998, the Sig Pro line represented Sig Sauer's first polymer-framed venture. Initial SP2340 pistols, chambered 40 S&W or 357 Sig, followed shortly by the 9mm SP2009. Retained controls mirrored metal frame predecessors: decocker, slide stop, takedown lever, and reversible magazine catch. Early frames limited light options, yet the pistols earned praise for soft recoil and robust steel locking inserts. In 2002, the design evolved into the SP222, named for the French contract stipulating a 20-year service life. France ordered more than 250,000 examples, making it the largest handgun procurement in Western Europe since World War II. The frame gained a Picatinny rail, squared-off trigger guard, and modular back straps, while internals received minor durability enhancements. Colombia's police adoption of a two-tone SP2022 and a Norwegian suppressor package tested for diplomatic security units. All models use Browning-type tilting barrels, DASA operation, and 15 or 17-round magazines in 9mm. The SP2022 remains in Sig's catalog and continues frontline duty in France, Portugal, Malaysia, and selected Swiss military police units. Sig's P250 Launched in 2007, the P250 embodied SIG's first full-scale attempt at caliber and size modularity. The serialized fire control unit drops into polymer grip shells of subcompact, compact, or full-size length, letting owners reconfigure chambering among 22 LR, 380 ACP, 9mm, 357 SIG, 40 S&W, and 45 ACP. The operating system is hammer-fired, double action only, with a spurless hammer and no manual safety. Hong Kong and Macau police forces placed early orders, valuing stringent import limits that favor multi-role flexibility. The U.S. Federal Air Marshal Service contracted for the P250 Compact in 2009, but later reverted to the P229 when training cycles clashed with the model's long trigger stroke. The Dutch National Police canceled a 45,000 pistol contract in 2011 after quality control shortfalls during acceptance testing. That high-profile reversal hampered wider institutional sales. The pistol's Dow pull averages 6 millimeters of travel and near 6 pounds of pressure, providing a consistent break, yet slower split times than striker rivals. Magazines share dimensions with later P320 units. Though first-generation grip modules required matching floor plates, SIG discontinued P250 retail kits in 2018 as demand shifted to the striker-fired P320, whose FCU evolved directly from P250 geometry. Pre-owned kits remain attractive to shooters who enjoy one serialized core across multiple calibers, without the litigation cloud that follows the P320. Sig P290 and P290 RS. SIG introduced the Subcompact P290 in 2011 to serve the concealed carry boom. The design employed a polymer frame with interchangeable cover plates to tune grip thickness, a stainless slide with nitron finish, combat night sights, and an optional trigger guard laser. At 5.5 inches overall and 16 ounces unloaded, it positioned itself against the Kel-Tec PF9 and Car PM9, though the DAO trigger delivered a longer pull akin to the P250. Early guns required cycling the slide to reset the hammer after a light strike, an inconvenience remedied by the 2012 release of the P290 RS Restrike, which allowed successive trigger pulls on the same cartridge. Ergonomic tweaks added a deeper beaver tail and an easier-to-reach slide stop. A 380 ACP chambering appeared briefly for markets where 9mm civilian ownership faced restriction. The P290 family retained 6-round flush magazines with 8-round extensions available. Fixed-barrel tilt-lock construction kept recoil manageable, and the profile proved snag-free undergarments. Despite solid reliability, the P290's place shrank once the P365 surfaced, with higher capacity and lighter trigger. Production closed in 2017. Used prices remain moderate, and many P290 RS pistols still serve as ankle guns or backup weapons for police officers. Sig P238. Debuting in 2009, the P238 merged micro dimensions with a classic single-action manual of arms. Design inspiration traces directly to the Colt Mustang, though SIG enlarged tolerances slightly for reliability and machined the slide from stainless steel while retaining an aluminum alloy frame. Factory designations never changed, yet enthusiasts often refer to early runs as HD for all stainless versions. July 2009 saw a mandatory safety retrofit on low serial guns. After a faulty sear lever surfaced, all affected pistols were corrected at the factory. Fun trivia ranges from the Nevada-themed Scorpion limited edition with flat dark earth finish to a short partnership with Hogue that shipped pistols wearing pink pearl stocks, marketed to women's self-defense classes. The locked breech system uses a 2.7-inch barrel, 6-round magazine, and ambidextrous thumb safety. Weight rests at 15 ounces, yet night sights arrive as standard equipment, an unusual perk in the D380 pocket field at that time. Civilian concealed carry remains the primary niche, though plainclothes officers in several Midwestern departments list the P238 as an approved backup. Production continues with numerous aesthetic options, and its all-metal feel keeps it relevant even as polymer 380 pistols push capacity upward. Sig P938. 2 years after the P238, Sig expanded the concept to 9mm. The P938 of 2011 preserved the micro 1911 ergonomics, yet lengthened the slide and reinforced the barrel to accommodate higher pressure. Anodized aluminum frames pair with stainless slides finished in raw steel, nitron black, or two-tone combinations. Variants such as Nightmare, Equinox, Extreme, Legion, and SAS, Sig Anti-Snag, deliver distinct grips, coatings, and dehorned edges. A rimfire P938-22, featuring a 4.1-inch barrel and 10-round magazine, allowed inexpensive training while maintaining the same manual controls. Unlike most short recoil pistols of its size, the P938 uses a pivoting external extractor and full-length guide rod, improvements that boost reliability under +P ammunition. 6-round flush and 7-round extended magazines ship with the pistol. The latter grants a 3-finger grip for better control. The pistol targets civilian carriers seeking a crisp, single-action break in a 17-ounce package. Off-duty officers in Arizona and Texas departments approved it for backup, appreciating the night sights and familiar thumb safety. As of 2025, Sig still catalogs selected editions. Sig P220. Released in 2014, the P220 translated the P250's modular chassis into a striker-fired format. The serialized stainless steel FCU can migrate between grip shells, slides, and calibers without tools. Initial chambering in 9mm, expanded to 40 S&W, 357 SIG, 45 ACP, and 10mm auto. January 2017 brought a watershed when the U.S. Army selected a customized P220 package, the M17 and M18, for the Modular Handgun System program. That decision triggered large orders across the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps, and encouraged Denmark, Australia, and Norway to adopt similar models. Controversy wasn't far behind. Reports of inertial discharges during drop tests triggered a voluntary upgrade program that introduced a lighter striker, revised sear, and mechanical disconnector. Multiple fatalities and over 100 civil lawsuits have since alleged the pistol could fire without trigger engagement. Leading agencies such as U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, several domestic police departments, and most recently, the U.S. Air Force to pull it from duty. Canada's Joint Task Force 2 pulled it from rotation pending further investigation, and by 2025, competitive shooting bodies like the IDPA had delisted the model entirely from sanctioned events. Even so, the U.S. Army continues to field the M17 and M18 across its branches, and the civilian market P220 remains in full production, still widely available despite the fatalities and lawsuits. Sig P265. Conceived in 2017 and released January 2018, the P265 redefined micro-compact capacity. Engineers devised an offset double-stack magazine that fit 10 rounds flush in a grip shorter than single-stack peers. The stainless chassis and polymer grip preserve P220 modular concepts on a smaller scale. Users can install XL, X macro, or fuse slide and grip assemblies without new serialization. Early production experienced striker drag that chipped primer rims. Sig substituted a beefier striker and tuned recoil springs within the first year. Sales nonetheless soared, making the P265 the top-selling U.S. handgun in 2018 and 2019. Wrongly anecdotes include a 50-round third-party drum that, although impractical, runs reliably in the pistol. U.S. metropolitan departments, such as Chicago and Miami Beach, issued the pistol for detectives and off-duty carry, while Danish Special Operations Command added it as a concealed backup. Standing P265s mount a 3.1-inch barrel and weigh 17.8 ounces. The XL extends the slide and grip for a 12-round flush fit. The X Macro mates a ported 3.7-inch slide to a 17-round frame barely larger than the original. The SAS deletes external sights in favor of a flush lumen port and Meprolite bullseye front, reducing snag risk. A 380 ACP version arrived in 2022 to ease recoil for new shooters. The P365 family now covers deep concealment to duty-size spacing, with capacities up to 21 rounds. Ongoing variants, factory flat trigger kits, and an expanding optic ecosystem indicate the design remains SIG's primary focus for the concealed carry market in 2025. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, pass it along to your fellow gun geeks, and subscribe to catch more content like this. Thanks for watching.